I don't know what's going on with these rules, these referees and stuff like that. I don't know how you go to the screen and look at the screen and don't give a penalty. It doesn't make sense.
The Lampard, Scholes, Gerrard, who you picking in order? Let's go.
You know the Rondos at Man United, yeah? Who was the guy who was mugging people off in the Rondo?
So we had two groups, yeah? So you had the seniors or the big money signings.
Yeah.
And you had the youngers. To be fair, I remember when Roy Keane punched up Chris Eagles one time.
Yeah.
And he was only a young kid. Liberties.
What did the Eagles do to deserve that?
Yeah. You already know the vibes. Looking in with the guys. Steven, Rio and Joel. I got tuned into 5-5. You know the vibes, you know the guys, you know the trio. You know it's Steve, you know it's Joel, you know it's Rio.
Yes, everybody, it's Joel Beya here. Welcome back to Vibe with 5. And we're back with another episode, weekly Premier League reviews with the main man, Rio Ferdinand. What are you saying, Gov? You all right?
How you doing? You all right, guys?
Good to see you, man.
Who's the new man we got in? Who you drawing in today?
Listen, man, we got a special guest, man, the one and only Mr. Adam McKola, Stretford Paddock, full-time Devils. How you doing, my brother? You good?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's a pleasure to be on. Thank you for having me, boys. And I got Rio on my side as well. So if Joel tries to act up, it's all good. It's all good.
Listen, we've had
What's
an
happening, man?
We've had an eventful weekend of football. You guys already know where it is, you know what I mean? Arsenal came with the W's, but we'll talk about that later on. I want to talk about the stalemate.
W's is plural, you know, Joe. That's plural, what you just said.
Why?
You said double U's. It was one W this week.
Listen, maths English teacher. Don't worry about that. We'll go on to that in a bit. Look, Chelsea versus Man United. Boy, oh boy, for me, another draw again. I mean, I don't know what's going on, guys. What's your thoughts on the game? Let's start off with you, Rio.
Well, we should have had a penalty. I don't know what's going on with these rules, these referees and stuff like that. I don't know how you go to the screen and look at the screen and don't give a penalty. It doesn't make sense. I saw it the first time in real time and shouted penalty in my front room. How he's not seeing it and giving it, and the people at Stokely Park can't go and give that penalty there now. I can't. There's nothing they can tell me that could change my mind. It should be a penalty. It's a disgrace.
You say that, but originally when I saw it, I thought it was Greenwood that handballed it, to be fair. But obviously when they went and they saw it was something else. Though, Mac.
That Greenwood thing. I'm the same. I thought it was Greenwood, but it doesn't matter about whether we thought it was Greenwood. They looked at the video and it was clearly Callum Hudson-Odoi. Now, personally, I think it's very harsh to get a penalty given for that. But we've seen them be given all season. Lindelof against Palace, various other different ones for different clubs. And then it to not be given when the guys looked at it, to me, is the most bizarre thing because it's so obviously a handball. Did it hit his hand? Yes. Was it in an unnatural position? Yes. Did it affect where the ball was going? Yes, because Callum Hudson-Odoi got the ball off Mason Greenwood after that. And then, like Luke Shaw said, for them to stop the game whilst we were attacking, to have a look at that, it doesn't make sense. Like, if you're going to stop it, you give it. If you're not going to stop it, we'll just play on. Like, it didn't make sense. The whole thing was a shambles to me.
Do you think Luke Shaw should be punished for what he said after the game?
I think he will be, but I don't think he should be. I'm disappointed that Harry hasn't come out and backed him.
No, Harry Maguire said the opposite. Yeah,
he's come out and said he misheard things.
Yeah,
didn't
he said that it wasn't correct. What's your thoughts on that?
You got to come and back it.
Yeah, I hear that.
I just think you say what you hear, man. That's it. If you heard that, then you just say it. And I think Luke Shaw, I take what Luke Shaw said because it was the heat of the moment and there ain't no grey areas. He said, this is what I heard. This is what was said. Obviously, people are backtracking now because the rules and regs that come into play and the repercussions that might come out of the back of it. But at the end of the day, that's what happens. What would help this situation, which I've said since the beginning, put mics on the ref. Put mics on the people at Stokely Park so we can hear them having a discussion about the situation. That will clear a lot of what we're talking about up. Do you know what I mean? We'll be coming into the show today and just going, actually, did you hear what they said? I understand why they made the decision now. But because we don't hear nothing and we just get the decision, look at rugby. You hear about what they're talking about. You hear in NFL, I think you hear it as well, where they speak about, you hear the people making decisions and how they get to the decision. The problem comes is when the confusion sets in because no one knows how did you get to that decision. Because this decision here on the weekend, the problem is Why did you make that decision, given that you've seen it? And everybody at home sits there and thinks it's handball.
No, it's true, but I think I want to focus a little bit on like what you said, the backtracking bit. I had an argument with my brethren Newbie just before this, and he was chatting like he's saying, Luke Shaw, you know, he shouldn't have said that. He must have heard the wrong thing. But I said, listen, this is football, you know, like he could have generally heard that. And like you said, the powers that, well, not like you said, but I'm saying the powers that may be, right, might say, no, you know what, calm down on all of that, bruv. Do you think that could have been the case, or do you reckon it was a genuine mistake?
That happens in football.
Ali,
go on.
And Ali backed it as well. Ali backed it, didn't he? Because the interview Ali did straight after, he said, well, if we say what the ref said, then he's going to be in trouble. So it weren't just Luke Shaw that said it. It was also Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that repeated it. I do think a little bit of the backtracking is to do with now they've seen Luke Shaw is probably going to get suspended. Let's try and stop this from happening, because Luke Shaw has been a very key player for us this season, but it doesn't take away from the facts. It was a horrendous decision. And if Luke Shaw is punished out of all of this to go on, it just shows you how backwards it is. And I don't think VAR is the problem, by the way. It's the referees. The referees aren't good enough. Nowhere else do you see VAR causing these issues.
I see the comments. The comments were saying things like, you know what, this is why English refs ain't going to the World Cup, etc., etc. So it's true, isn't it?
Listen, the bigger list, another talking point is United against the top 6 played 7, and we've won 0, man. We've won 0. We've drawn 5 and we've lost 2. I don't think it's as bad as people make out. Maybe, like I think we're wait. Let me finish. Where we're dropping points, yeah. Sheffield United at home, that's more concerning for me. Yeah, dropping points like that where you're expected to go and win. Do you know what I mean? They're the ones that I sit and you go, you know what? You bully the lesser teams in the league, and you don't lose against the big boys, and you try and win the odd one here and there. Man United have still got games to play against the big 6. So this table of played 7, won none could look very different by the time the end of the season comes. If we play against them again and we beat a couple, that's a big if. But you don't want to lose to people around you, but you do want to start nicking more points than what we have. And listen, after getting beat 6-1 by Spurs, there is going to be that defense mechanism that kicks in as a team. You don't want to be embarrassed like that.
After what? After what?
After the 6-1 against Spurs, yeah. But what I mean is like that the defense mechanism kicks in, but then there has to come a point then where you open up a little bit. You can't play kind of with the straps on in the big games too much, because then it becomes something that's hard to break, that trend that you've got. And listen, there has been a couple of games like we could have nicked goals, Pogba, Rashford, the missed chances in a couple of them big games, but I feel we've played not to get beat more than Man United of old. You play to win them games.
Go on, Mac.
I think it's down to a little bit as well. The McTominay and Fred thing. I think individually, McTominay and Fred are very, very good at what they do, and they're great midfielders to have in a squad in it. But they're not number 6s. Neither of them have a very good number 6. And to play well in these games, we need to free up the team a little bit more. We're going ultra defensively to protect the defense because we know we need to protect the defense. So we're playing 2 man in front of them. When really, if we had like a Thomas Partey or someone like that could just sit in that position, we'd be able to play an extra number 8, and we'd look a little bit more dangerous in the final third and maybe be able to create something. We missed Paul Pogba massively against Chelsea. If we have Paul Pogba, I think we win that game because he will be the difference in terms of the passing. McTominay and Fred's ability on the ball isn't good enough for me at times. Biggest example was McTominay at the end of the game. He has a great chance to just slip it through. The pass goes wrong. Now, I'm not blaming McTominay on everything. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Pogba puts it into someone's path. Now, McTominay's done well in the big games. He's scored goals this season, but I just feel we need that true number 6. That means we don't have to overly protect the defense too much. And maybe another centre.
Been poor, bro. You can't just say it's not just about protecting the defense. Your defense has been poor, bro. Do you know what I mean? And like,
yeah, but why does he have to protect it? Because of they've been poor. Do you know what I mean? So he has to play Fred and McTominay. He can't just play McTominay or just play Fred because our defense is shaky.
If I had one question to ask Ollie, that would be it. Why do you keep playing 2 centre holding midfielders? Why do you keep playing 2 defensive midfielders in this team? Like the top teams, we're playing with 1 less player in an attacking position all the time. Other teams that have more players attacking against us because of the amount of players they can release to go forward because of the confidence they've got in their defenders. I'd love it. I'd love that answer to that question. That'd be one of my big questions for him, 100%, because you can't spend 80 and 50 odd million for the right back and for the centre back, 35 plus for the other centre back, and 30 odd for the left back, and still be having issues at the back. There's a problem. It's not right. You can't be spending that type of money and still be saying, I'm going to protect them. Doesn't make sense. The best teams in the world don't get protected like that. You don't look at even the Bayern's team last season. They ain't getting protected by anybody. You've got one holder in there. The others just go off and fly off the handles and play. Man City, the same thing. Maybe their protection is they have more numbers in the middle of the pitch and from the right back and the left back going in there, but they've still got big spaces out wide and the left sometimes 1v1 to defend at the back. We can't do that, man. It seems at the moment we can't leave our players 1v1 on the halfway line. Scared.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I was gonna say as well.
I think a lot of that comes down to. Sorry, Joe.
No, go on, Matt.
I was gonna say I think a lot of it's down to character, bro. There's Rio, you will know more. You're a centre half and you obviously played at the top level. I don't see enough as a fan watching the games of any leaders in that defense talking, come in, pull here, who's there? Are you in line? I don't ever see none of that. And against, was it Everton? Like Harry Maguire's not in line. Like your job is to, I played at Sunday League level. Everyone's my line, yeah? Like I don't even see those kind of basics, those little basics. Like, who's with me? Are you here? Pull in, tuck in. I don't see none of that. It seems like everyone's just playing for themselves and hoping. Yeah. I hope I'm not the one that messes up today.
Yeah, I hope I don't get called out by whatever. No, it's true. But Rio, you said a stat earlier on. You said what? United have played 7 games against the top? No, is it against the top 7? You said what was the stat, please?
Top six.
Yeah, and you've won 5 games. Yeah.
No, we've drawn 5.
You've drawn 5. My bad. Sorry. You said top 6, right? So you said nice shots there, mate. You said it's not that bad. I don't really agree with you because I feel like the standards of which you had set for yourself, you would not really be happy with that. So why is it okay for this current team to be okay with it?
I just think given where they're playing catch up to everybody else from last season, you've got to remember they're 30 odd points behind Liverpool last season. They've gone beyond Liverpool now in this season's standings in the league. So that's a big achievement in that sense. We were not sitting here last season expecting or anticipating Man United to be up there at any point in this season and us as fans going, they could potentially win the league this year. So 4 or 5 weeks ago, we were sitting here saying that they could win the league. If they carry on, they could win the league. So I see that as a massive step in the right direction. Is this team in a better position than it was last season? Yes, they are. Is there still work to do? Yes, there is. But I see progress. I still see room for improvement. Definitely need to buy a centre-back, a commanding centre-back, someone with pace, please. I still think Cavani, yes, he's a good stopgap for a year or so, but a centre-forward, if people like Erling Haaland, if Haaland's available or Mbappe is available, you can't allow him to go nowhere else. You've got to do everything you can, move heaven and earth to get people like that to come here. Because Man United are used to having superstars here and people that them boys there will change the narrative at this football club because that's how good they are. So I just feel that there's room for improvement. There's opportunity to improve this squad. There's players out there available to get, it seems. We need to be in the mix.
All right. This is Vibe with Five. Mac, I'm going to ask you, Rio, I'm asking you, those are lovely names you've rolled out there, Haaland and Mbappe. It sounds nice, but why are they going to come to Man United at this stage? Why would they?
Bruv, you must want to get kicked off. Are you taking a mick? It's Man United, bro. It's Man United.
I'm just saying.
You say the name yourself. You said the name.
It's Man United.
It's Man United.
Bro. Manchester. Why do people still, I don't know, go to, when Real Madrid haven't won anything for a while? Why do people still go there? Like, because I know they have. When they have dry patches, people still sign for them because they want to be the guy that helps that team get back to the top. If you're the guy that puts that team back on the pedestal, bro, you're a hero. You're a legend. You're the man. And if Bruno Fernandes is going to be one of those players, but we can't just do it with Bruno. I saw this couple months ago. It was, Pogba's going to have to fight for his team. Bruno showing Pogba up and that. We still miss Paul Pogba when Bruno plays. It shows you we need more quality in that team. I agree with what Rio said about the centre half. I wish Eric Bailly was fit, because if he was, he'd be the man. Right wing, I think, is somewhere that needs sorted. Number 6, and then probably next summer it'll be a striker. If we don't get one this summer.
Listen, you know what I said about it, that stat about 7 games against the top 6, 5 draws, and 2 losses and no wins. You can't be. I'll correct myself a little bit here. You can't be happy with that. I'm not saying happy with that. What I'm saying is that we haven't lost the too many games there. We obviously haven't won. But what I mean is, like, you go away to Anfield, you go away to Chelsea. In our teams, you go to win them games, yeah. But you wouldn't be disappointed with a draw. So there's the home games is where you say these are games we've got to win. If you draw at home against anyone, it's a depressing Sunday, Monday morning, 100%. But away games, out of them games there in that list of teams there, when you're away, you would accept a draw, 100%.
Okay. Even the wins that we had at Anfield and places like that were scruffy wins. That
we nicked them. We never played at Anfield.
Yeah, like I don't get fans that I'm disappointed with the record, and I think we should have opened up a bit more against Arsenal and Chelsea, particularly at home. We played 2 DMs against Arsenal at home. I was fuming at that.
And you still got to run true as well. Run true, bro.
Like, bro, was that your last win since this one this weekend and that one?
What are you talking about? Nah, bro. We've had more wins. We've had more wins, bro. We've had more wins since then. Calm yourself down. All right, guys, really quickly, yeah. I like the way you guys have maneuvered past the questions that I asked, because you guys know deep down. It's okay, deep down, you know. But Tuchel, I saw your interview, Rio Meets. Fantastic interview, by the way. Loved it. It's available for you guys to watch on 5, so make sure you check it out after you've watched this one. And a very intelligent man. How far do you reckon he can take Chelsea from what you've seen? I know it's just the beginning, but how far, Rio?
Well, his record since he's come in, the defensive record has really shot up, done really well. He's changed personnel. He's gone with experience. And you've seen an uplift in some of the players there. I still think there's massive work to do. I think Mason Mount under Frank was probably the best player, and he's still the best player under Tuchel. What he's got to do is the recruitment that they had under Frank, he's got to get a tune out of them. Werner is not playing to his standard that we know we've seen at Leipzig. Havertz is on the bench. Ziyech played yesterday, no real massive impact. These are 3 players that were tearing up their leagues when they come from. So he needs that to be transferred into the Premier League, and that's, I think, a massive, massive task for him. And if he gets that right, he's onto the right road. And again, for them, I think it'll be the same recruitment. If these guys like Haaland and Mbappe come up, Chelsea will be in the mix to try and buy them, 100%. And then that will obviously have a big impact and bearing on how well he does. But as a man, he's one of the most impressive men I've met in terms of football and the way he talks about the game. He talks fantastically openly and well, all about creating the ambience and the vibe at the club. So let's listen. It's early days, but I think Chelsea fans, the ones I see and online and spoken to, feel very positive about his start.
It's true. No, I think I'm very impressed with him. I actually believe that if anyone's going to bring him close to a title, I think it's someone such as himself. What about yourself, Mac? What have you thought of him so far? I
think he's made them a lot stronger defensively. Under Lampard, they look like you could get at them a little bit, and they do look like a lot better defensive. But also, you can tell they're not quite up to speed with what he wants from them yet. You can tell he gives them a lot of information. So at the moment, the players are still playing like, oh, what was I supposed to do in this position? What am I supposed to do in that position? And you can tell once they know their roles perfectly, they'll be a lot fluider and the football will be a lot better. But he's the kind of guy that should be managing Chelsea. Like, obviously, as a Manchester United fan, I'd rather have seen him kept Frank Lampard than Thomas Tuchel, because of the fact that he's a top-level coach, and he can probably take Chelsea back to being one of those teams that are challenging for the big cups and the league. So, yeah, I think he's a good coach, but at the moment, it all seems it looks good, but it's very stiff. I think soon it'll get to the point where they know their jobs and it's a lot smoother.
And when you look at their forward positions, is it enough though? Is it enough really, Rio?
On form, no, not at all. How long are they going to keep relying on Giroud? He's aged. Where he's at in his career, he's an impact player, 100%. For Chelsea to be having Giroud leading the line says really where probably they're at in terms of they need to make some more recruitments in that area. Maybe I think Timo Werner, is he a number 9? I would say he's probably better off from a wider position where he was playing at Leipzig. But then they're fully stocked out there. They've got Pulisic as well, can play out there. Where does Havertz fit into this team? I think there's a lot of questions still for Tuchel for him to be answering. And that will come with games, but that will come with more time on the training field. So he's got time to answer. Well, has he got time? Well, we don't know about Chelsea, but he's going to have to get into these players to really unlock them to give them the best chance of staying and actually producing something there.
Something else that I saw come up that was really interesting this weekend. Apparently, Aaron Wan-Bissaka will choose to play for the Congo. Big up my guys. If he keeps getting overlooked by England. What's your thoughts on this? Should they be moving, hell on earth to get him into that England shirt? What's your thoughts, Mac? You're kissing your teeth.
Southgate should have been gone a long time ago, in my opinion.
Bloody
Mac.
Whoa, shot to get fired.
What?
I don't rate the fella at all, man. And I'm surprised. Why? Because he's not good enough. Ultimately, he wouldn't get a top job in the Premier League. He probably wouldn't even get a job in the Championship. And in my opinion, when you look at the England team and the players that we've got and the talent that the England team has, they deserve a manager that's better than Gareth Southgate. We are not going to get the best out of this England team in the next couple of tournaments with him as manager. He picks a lot of his favourites and all that. Now, as for Wan-Bissaka, your question on him, I believe defensively he's the best right back in the country. Going forward, which is very important in the modern game.
What, better than Reece James?
Not so much. Sorry, I didn't say he's better than Reece James going forward. Okay. Defensively,
in general, as a defense. Okay.
No one's better than Wan-Bissaka defensively. I don't think. I just think going forward it lets him down. He has to overthink things when he's playing and going forward, and he looks very like. Remember when Chris Smalling? You could tell Chris Smalling had been taught how to pass the ball, so he used to open up his body and like play really square on that. And Wan-Bissaka does that sometimes, and you could just tell it's not his natural game, which is weird considering he used to be a winger. But if he gets better there, I think he will be starting for England. But generally, when I talk about England, I can't overlook the fact Gareth Southgate's their manager still, and he shouldn't be.
Yeah, but you're saying that he picks all of his mates and that. Mac, you're chatting rubbish because the amount
of
selections...
He plays about seven right backs.
Selections, bro. The amount of selections he's bought from guys coming from the under-21 squad. I don't remember seeing so many people given opportunities. So
how long did it take Grealish to get into this team?
Hey, it took him a while.
Grealish should have been in the team ages ago, bro.
What last season, I hear you.
He should have been in this team ages ago.
Him the opportunity. So what? And if you look at the fact that... Go on.
You think Grealish is going to be starting at the Euros? You're mad. He's not going to be in that team.
He's
not going to be though. We're going to have Dyer and Henderson and Rice and all these guys just playing DM. Harry Kane up top with a Sterling behind him or something. It's going to be. Well, we need a football manager.
The last 2 games, he proved what he's about. He started in those games as well. So why won't he be starting at the Euros?
I'm interested. I think these next 3 games. There's like a triple header coming up. I think we'll get a good bearing then. And I think we should have this discussion because like, who knows what's going to happen now? I don't think anyone can pick his team and no one can pick his formation. Like once we get that, then you can start going, actually, right, I see it. But I just hope he doesn't go defensive, man. I think this tournament's a gimme. He should be coming out and saying, listen, guys, I've got a young squad, hungry young squad. I want to prime them up for the next tournament. And I'm just going to go out and say, go and just play off the leash. But I don't see that happening.
You don't see it happening.
The talent we've got.
The talent we've got in going forward.
Yeah, but it's still defensively, you can get a good team in there. Like, you don't have to go uber defensively. I don't get it. Like, you could play a 3 with a couple wing backs if you want. That are probably the 2 of the best wing backs in the league. Like, there's such good talent in there. And even holding, you got Rice or Henderson or Dyer. Pick one of them or two of them. You don't have to pick
Wing
all
backs,
of them.
That's why we were saying Aaron
Free the man up.
But that's why we were saying Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
He's not going to get picked by England.
Nah, it's too late for him.
It's not too late. As soon as the manager changes, he'll be picked.
He could be playing for Congo by then, bro. It might be too late.
Yeah, he will be.
So do you play Aaron Wan-Bissaka before Trent Alexander-Arnold?
It depends on the opponent, you know. If it's a game where we're expected to have 60% possession, then probably I'll go with Trent because Trent will create more. I actually think Trent's probably a right winger anyway. Like it doesn't seem like a proper defensive fullback to me. But if we play in a team that's got an Mbappe in there, France, Wan-Bissaka's starting. Like he'll pocket him.
Yeah, he did it. He did it in Paris, didn't he?
Yeah, strong words still, guys. Yesterday I saw some mad debate. Yeah, Roy Keane, Jamie Carragher. Not Jamie Carragher, Jamie Redknapp. Did you see it?
Yeah, you see it. It's funny. I see it all online. Funny, man.
I didn't know Jamie had it in him, man. He was ready.
Nor did I. But now, listen. At the end of the day, are Spurs an average team? That's the question, isn't it? That's what Roy was saying.
Exactly.
Are Spurs an average team? I think without Kane and Son, 100% they're average. 100%. Like, Toby Alderweireld don't get in none of the big teams. No chance. Not now.
Now you mean? Now
3 years ago he does. Not now. Not now. He doesn't. I mean, he barely just about gets in the Spurs team. So there's no way. Like, I don't. You have to agree that Spurs are an average team without Son and Kane. They're the only two that get in any of the big teams. Højbjerg might get in as a squad player.
And Dembele.
Who?
And Ndombele, man. That's a player right there, man.
He's a boy.
Yeah, I loved Ndombele, but who's he going to play for then? Does he get in a Liverpool team? No.
Probably now he does.
Huh?
Probably now.
He don't get in Liverpool's strongest team. He don't get in. Who else? Where would he get in? Does he get in front of
your team? Probably get in United's team.
Who, Ndombele? Or instead of who? Pogba or Fernandes?
No, not instead of your current team, because obviously Pogba's injured, isn't it?
Instead of, no, I'm talking about when you got your best team. Does he get in front of Pogba or Fernandes? He doesn't.
No, he's not going to get in front of them.
But he's still a very good player, though.
I think he's a really good player. I really like him. I think he's an amazing player. But if we're saying whoever out of their team gets in the top teams, Son and Kane are the only ones. You can't base an argument for any of the other players. Do you think Spurs are above average team or? Like I think Jose, yeah. I think Jose, he sits there and he looks at every position, bar Son and Kane and maybe Højbjerg now, and maybe Ndombele, and thinks I can improve everywhere. I need to improve everywhere.
Agreed.
But I only think that's because of the way Mourinho is. So when he went in there, I don't think you would have said that.
Why?
Like Eric Dyer, he wants to bring Eric Dyer to Man United. I'm sure he made a comment that he'd win the league with that Spurs team. Like, that was back then, Matt. The team has changed because of what Mourinho has done to it as well. Yeah, but Mourinho's had time with it now, and he has destroyed a lot of these players. I think this is what Mourinho does, isn't it? He goes into a club, he might win you a cup or two, but he's going to destroy everyone around him at the same time. In my opinion, he was seeing what happened at United, but happened much quicker at Spurs.
I've been defending him for years, bro. Like, and he's making it harder and harder for me every job he takes, bro. Like, it's ridiculous, man.
But you see the resurrection of Bauer the last game and a half.
I like that.
But is it the resurrection though, or has he just allowed a good player to play?
It's true.
Bell was missing open goals in that, bro. Like, I'm not having it. Like, the guy was not performing well enough. He wasn't, man. He was getting into key positions. Some might say it's fitness, but he should be tucking away some of the chances he was getting, man. Regardless.
I don't know, if they catch fire now with them three, go on, mate.
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, that front three is nuts. But I just think Gareth Bale would have been doing this earlier if he was given a chance to. I just think everything's got to be a point with Mourinho. He's always got to prove a point with players. He's always got to do this, that, and the other. Bale was his Pogba. Do you know what I mean? Dele is Pogba now. Like Dele Ali should be in that team, and I can see players in that dressing room slowly falling away from what he's doing. When you don't get the results and you're being asked to hold on to a 1-0 lead against Brighton and Fulham and all these teams, and then you're dropping points, you must go in that dressing room and think, I can't do this no more. Yes, when you're winning, it's all going well. But when you're not.
That's a good point what you're saying there. Like the way I try and think about it as a player, would I like to play for Jose Mourinho? On one hand, I would, because he's a winner. And that mentality, I love his mentality, win at all costs, that desire, you see that hunger and passion with winning. But on the other hand, I look at it, he makes it hard sometimes for you to play for him. I look at players and they look like sometimes they look drained. Like there's a weight on their shoulder playing for him. Like the way sometimes that you have a manages, sometimes he says things publicly that just kind of just weigh people down, and it becomes like a stress. It seems to play for him at the moment, especially some of his best players. Like you look at Pogba, that was a strange relationship. He's your talisman, most expensive player. You'd think you'd want to build around that and make it as easy as possible for him to perform. Bale's come in, the same. It doesn't look like it's an easy situation for Bale to be in with him as the manager. He says stuff in the paper, makes it difficult, adds pressure. Dele Alli, he's a talent. Yes, he hasn't been as consistent as he would like, I'm sure, but some of the stuff that you've seen been said about him on the documentary, etc., it's hard to play for someone like that. Like good managers make you want to run through brick walls for him. When I speak to people, the old Chelsea team, Frank Lampard, etc., Joe Cole, they speak about Mourinho, their eyes light up because they loved him. They would do anything for him. I don't think these players now would do anything for Jose Mourinho. And if you're going to win things, that's the type of relationship you need with your player and your managers.
How would you have reacted? How would you have reacted?
With what?
You know, how sometimes you see him, he'll come and he'll say one or two things. Are you the type of person who will ignore it, keep your head down, possibly like what Luke Shaw did, carry on playing? Or
yeah, I was probably that type where I would the first time 100% would be like, all right, I'll go and show you. I'll go out on the pitch and do this. I wouldn't have appreciated no public dressing downs. I wouldn't have appreciated that. I would have lost respect for the manager on them grounds. And it makes it hard then. The relationship strain, it's hard to do that. So I definitely would have, the Amazon thing, what he done with Dele, I would have definitely said something. I would like to think that Dele would have gone and spoke to him about it. And even stuff since then that you've seen in the paper. I just think sometimes it's uncalled for. Who's winning out of that situation? Because ideally you want your players to be the people that come out of them situations when things are said, more confident players. Or maybe he's looking to want them to prove himself a little bit. But I think history suggests that the way he's gone about these things haven't materialized and worked out the way he would have probably anticipated or liked.
Go on, man.
I think football has changed as well around him. Like at Chelsea early on, he could probably get away with some things that you can't get away with now. And when you look around the league now, you've got, man, like, I know his results haven't been great. Graham Potter plays good football now. Like, all these different teams have coached different styles of play. So it's a different era of football that Mourinho is trying to apply those same methodology in. And if you see Fergie, he had that side to him, but he also had a side where he'd protect his players.
100%
One
protection.
of the interesting things you just said there, Rio, you would have loved to have played for Mourinho. Like, I've always thought Moyes was the wrong time and Mourinho should have been at that time because we had a dressing room of winners.
That's what I thought.
Do you kind of...
Yeah, I thought that at the time. I thought Mourinho would have been the one to come in then and would have been able to maybe carry on what the manager was doing because he has the experience of that type of player, that size, the stature of club, etc. But it never materialized. I would definitely, at that time, I would have been punching the air if Mourinho had come through the door.
It would have been easier for him to take over champions, innit, than having
because he knows. Mourinho's got the experience. He's won the league. He's won Champions Leagues. He's managed at Madrid, Inter Milan, etc. Chelsea, all big clubs, man. He knew what he was coming into, but that doesn't necessarily guarantee you success, as we saw when he came to Man United at the time he did.
I was going to say now, when you're looking at the Jose Mourinho situation, we're not here wishing anything bad on the managers. We're not trying to put extra pressure. But how long do you see Jose staying at Spurs? Personally, I don't see past Christmas. 2021?
I don't know. It's got a distant. This game's a results-driven game, isn't it? I think none of us have got crystal balls, but he's going to have to get a tune out of these boys towards the end of this season. He needs that front three firing. We saw glimpses at the weekend. If them three are firing, they're in games with people because they're going to score. They're that good. So it's the rest of the team being able to keep up with them front three. If they're on fire, then they need to be about.
Mm-hmm. And yourself, Mac?
Sorry, what was the question, bro?
Originally, it's how long do you reckon Jose?
Oh, how long? Yeah. Sorry. I don't think he'll be there for long. But the thing is with Spurs aren't Real Madrid. They aren't Manchester United. So the expectations on them winning the big things aren't as much. Whereas at United, he won the Europa League and the League Cup. If he does that at Spurs, he's their greatest ever manager. At Manchester United, he did it, and it's like, all right, that's cool. Now go win us the league. Yeah. And that's why I think if he can bring a cup home this season, they're stuck with him. No matter where he takes them, they won't fire him. So it's a bit of an interesting one. I think he will do well in the cups, but I think ultimately his success in the league will mean that he loses his job eventually. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's still there this time next year.
Wow, that's a strong statement. Rio, your other team, just about lost out to City on the weekend. Good performance, Man City versus West Ham. Did you watch the game? What were your thoughts? Are you still seeing the improvement in West Ham despite the defeat?
Yeah, I think West Ham, they would have come away from that game and thought, listen, I was at West Ham as a kid, and you go to certain grounds and you think, just don't want to get beat today. Or if we get beat 1-0 or by a goal, you'd be happy, you'd be okay with that. To get back down the motorway, pick your fights against teams nearer around you. I think West Ham would have been going there with a different mentality this time. I think they would have been going there. They would have seen weaknesses in this Man City team. There aren't many. But I think on the counter-attack, they showed even in this game that if you hit them on the counter-attack and you play direct and you've got willing runners, you are going to get chances still against this City team. And they've done that. But at the end of the day, City are what they are. They're a relentless machine at the moment. They're suffocating teams with possession. And they're creating chances and they're putting away. And they've done it without Aguero, their best number 9, their main striker, and without Kevin De Bruyne at times. And they're showing that it's not even about individuals, this team. This is just about they are a top team, the way that they're performing. So it's ominous for everybody else. But I think Manchester, I think West Ham, I think they put in a respectable performance, 100%.
Mac, Jesse Lingard, would you take him back?
It's good to see Jesse performing well at West Ham, I've got to say. I was a big fan of his at Manchester United as well, and I thought he was a bit unfortunate, to be honest, a lot of the time, because even in the Jose Mourinho era, when we were doing well, he was one of our key players. I think one season he got 15 goals. He played a big part in the Europa League win, the League Cup win, etc. But I think ultimately the team moved on from him at Manchester United, and I think Jesse Lingard needs to be playing week in, week out at this age. And I don't think that will be at Manchester United. So as much as I love him and I want to see him successful, I think he's kind of found a great fit at West Ham, where he's kind of the big man. Like, everyone looks up to him, you can tell. They all like being around him as well. And he can play regularly. We've seen him when he plays regularly. He's an intelligent footballer. His movement is very good. His link-up play in between is very good as well, and up close. It's just doing it consistently. And I think at a place like West Ham, I know the fans can be on top at times at West Ham and all that stuff, but the pressures aren't the same at Manchester United. So I think he can be more himself there. I think at Manchester United, unfortunately, a lot of the fans, I'm not one of them, that started criticizing him for his things off the pitch and stuff. I think footballers have to do that, because you have to look after your career after football. Or you have to look after your family and give them jobs doing things around you. So I understood what he was doing. And I feel the magnifying glass at Manchester United just affected him. He also had issues off the pitch. And I think he's looking a lot happier. And I'm happy to see him happy, because he's done a lot for United over the last couple of years. And on the channel, we know his family and that. And he's from a good family. So good to see him doing well. But I don't think he will be back at United, unfortunately. But we'll get a good fee for it.
Oh, you reckon?
20, 30 mil. It's worth that.
I'm interested to see it. I don't know how long he's got left on his contract. He did just sign one like a couple years ago with Jose. So I don't know. Well, I mean, I don't know. I got to check
him into the Declan Rice deal or something. I think that's what United have tried to do, you know. Send him there, hope he does well, and then go, all right, keep him and knock off 30 mil on Declan Rice or something like that. I've got a feeling United have that up there.
Wouldn't be a bad one.
Yeah, that would be clever. That would be clever. Looking at that City game, I'm looking at players like Kevin De Bruyne. For me, there's no more words to describe this guy. Rio, the question for me is, do you put him up there with the likes of the Scholes, Lampard, Gerrard? What would you say?
Right now, at this moment, no, because I think longevity plays a part. Potentially all day long. Like, he's a ridiculous player, man. You see the other day, he just shifts it on his left foot, his weaker side, puts it on a sixpence for Diaz. Like, he's an unbelievable football. I love him. He's one of my favourite players to watch play. And saying that as a Man United, ex-Man United player is crazy to say, but to see the way he plays football is the way that I love to see it played. He controls the pace of the game, speeds it up, slows it down, can play off both feet, as good a crosser out there as anybody. And gets goals, man. And he plays with an intensity. You can see he loves the game. There's a purity about what he does. I love it. And I think he's great. And I think in time, he will be definitely in that conversation. I think, but right now, he's still like, would you say he's been more impactful or better in a Man City shirt than Yaya Toure?
Oh, that's it.
So that's what I mean. So to then talk about, is he better than them three as well? Then that puts it into perspective, I think. So, but will he be in that conversation? I have no doubts.
Yeah,
he will, because this team look like they're going to clean up again, and he's going to be a main part of that team. So he's definitely in the convo.
100%. Mac, your thoughts?
Yeah, he's obviously an excellent player. I think he's, one of the top players in the Premier League. But I do agree with Rio. I don't think you can put him alongside Lampard and Scholes and Yaya Toure yet, because of the fact that they've done it all, and he hasn't had that impact on City. But I think he can go a long way to doing that. And I think with him, I think a lot of people talking about Bruno Fernandes after his performance against Chelsea and say maybe he didn't perform in the bigger games. Now I tend to think, that's not really a thing, but that is a big thing for players, like especially in the Premier League, performing in those games. And that's the difference at the moment. You just know Kevin De Bruyne is going to deliver in these matches. You know he is, and often he does, and that's why he's one of the top players in the world. And he probably will go down with them, but not yet. You know the Rondos at Man United, yeah. Who was the guy who was mugging people off in the Rondos? This is what I want to hear about. All this kind of stuff.
In the Rondos, who was good? So we had two groups, yeah. So you had the seniors, or the big money signings,
yeah,
and you had the youngers. So when I signed, they said to me, like, what box you want to go in? And I was like, your pride in that. I said, ego in that. I said, I'm going in that big man box. I went in there.
Yeah.
Bruv, the levels was mad. Like, so I've got in the box, you've got Ruud van Nistelrooy, Beckham, Varane, Roy Keane, Ryan Giggs, Scholesy, Ollie. Gary Neville was in there, but he was normally in the middle.
Yeah.
So that's like an 8, yeah? That's like an 8, probably, and me. Yeah? It's a mad box, man. The levels in that box was mad. And it was obviously like Nicky Butt was in there as well. Like the ball was getting smashed around. Bex was just always crisp. Scholesy was a joke. Varane used to play just pure outside of the foot.
Is it?
I tell you, you would. Ruud van Nistelrooy had the Megs on. He used to Megs people a lot. Ruud van Nistelrooy. I tell you wouldn't realise who was unbelievable in the box. Roy Keane.
Is it?
Unbelievable, really good. Always argued that he wouldn't have to go in, but he used to have a ball that would come in here and he'd wrap it bang down the line all the time, like really hard, but crisp. He was good, man. Yeah, we had that was a strong box, and then it evolved a little over time, and it was like me, Vida, Rooney, Fletch, Wes, Patrice, Jason Park, Tevez, like all them guys, and then you had the youngers like Welbeck and Clevin. And it's funny because we got a WhatsApp group with all the ex-United players, or a good few of us, and it always comes back to the rondos, like, and like, the piggies, like, listen, guys, you man can't talk because you weren't allowed in our box. And if ever we had an injury or didn't have enough numbers, we'd go, "Oh, one of you lot come up to our box," and you just see everyone do this.
Yeah.
No one wanted to come because pressure. They used to say, "Rio, the pressure's too much to come in that box. Too much pressure."
Was there ever a kid that came into training and just mugged one of the olders off and got a clamping, like a Raval or someone like that was too techie?
Not really. No. Like Paul Pogba, when he first came, he used to try and hold the ball because he's strong. He used to try and hold people off. And I remember Scholesy just lacing him a few times, like he was a tree trunk, bro, just chopping him down. And Paul would lay on the floor and go, like, "What's going on?" And then Scholesy just jogged off like nothing. But no, it wasn't really like that. To be fair, I remember when Roy Keane punched up Chris Eagles one time. Yeah. And he was only a young kid. Liberties out of order.
Oh God! What did Eagles do to deserve that?
No, Eagles. This is what I mean. It was good for him, Eagles, because he's like a young kid, and Roy must have been coming out from an injury, or he didn't play, and he was training with the reserves. And the youngsters is in there, like Eagles and Lee Martin and a few of them boys. They're like rats in training, ratting around people, getting close, trying to tackle. And he went late, I think, on Roy once or twice, and Roy said to him, "Listen, slow down." The ball come in again. Eagles trying to impress, trying to leave his mark on the session. Left a little bit on Roy again, like pulled his jersey or something like that. Roy just turned around, went bang, the jaw, bruv. Quick, short jab, and I think Chris just stood there, and I was like, "Right, what were you doing? What's wrong with you?" Like, and I remember coming inside, and I said to Roy, like, "Why are you doing that for? He's a young kid, man." So I warned him, like, "Don't grab, what are you grabbing my shirt for?" Yeah, it's like, but that's just the way it was, like, so. But it was mad, like, that's the thing at United, it could just switch just like that in training. I think all training grounds are the same. They're like, there's a lot of testosterone flying about.
Did they ever try with you though?
What fighting?
Yeah. Did they know, like, see, you're a tall guy?
No, it never really got to that. It was funny, because I've got the biggest mouth on the training ground.
Yeah, I heard.
So I used to always be shouting and screaming. So, and I used to love jokes. But obviously, I used to get serious in training, like with the games and that. Obviously, on a Friday, especially before the game on a Saturday, everyone's playing. It'd be like hard games, like fast games. No, I think one time something happened with Ruud. Ruud van Nistelrooy, he smashed Cristiano a couple of times, went down his Achilles. And then the ball went into Ruud, and I smashed Ruud. I said, "What are you doing? Why are you kicking him for?" And then Ruud got up, and he was like, and the players all just got in the way in it, so nothing happened. But that's the way it used to be in the training. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was thinking, like, Ronnie's a young kid, man. Leave him alone. Like, what are you doing? But Ruud was an animal, mate. Animal player.
Bruv.
He's the best finisher I've played with.
Is it?
Yeah, he's the best I've seen as a Manchester United fan. He's the best.
Brutal finisher.
And he would have broke Bobby's record if he stayed for 2
If he stays at United, he breaks every record going. He was a joke, mate. He was, and he would come into we'd play a game and win 4-1. I remember we won somewhere 4-1. He didn't score. Yeah. He's in the change room after. He looked emotional. I thought, right, this guy cares that we won this much. Wow. Ruud's my guy. I said, "Dude, you're right." "Ruud, you're right." He said, I didn't score. Like, vexed. I said, "What? We won 4-1, man." He said, "Didn't score." And to put the nail in the coffin, Thierry got 2 on the same day as well. So the golden boot was going away. Like, he was fuming. Like, he was just driven to score. He was born to just score, man.
So that competition was always there between them two on the. Obviously, it is, but you could feel it basically.
Mate, Ruud would come into the change room after a game had finished, final whistle, jog down a tunnel, and turn the telly on. The results are coming in. Who scored? What's Arsenal's score? Who scored for Arsenal? Thierry scored. Who scored for Arsenal? Thierry hasn't scored. They've won, but yes, right. Come on, guys. Well done. Like, it was just a machine.
Flipping it, man. Listen, we got more stories like this on Vibe with Five, so we're gonna keep a few because we need you to keep coming back every week, people. But we ain't done yet, right? Obviously, you guys saw there was a big win during the course of the weekend. Do you know what I mean? A few guys said we wouldn't do it, but a nice little result. Mac, did you see the Leicester Arsenal game? Thoughts?
I think I seen about 60 minutes of it because I had to leave. Don't get excited, Joe. You're gonna do it to yourself again, ain't you? You went from 9th till 10th. Just relax. Leicester had a lot of injuries. I'm taking the
games by game basis, bro. I'm not talking about positions. I'm not talking about Europe. I'm just saying, did you see the game? Yes or no? Your thoughts on the performance?
Leicester were unlucky with injuries. I thought they started off the game very quickly. Arsenal reacted well, to be fair to them. I kind of felt that Leicester maybe would have 2-3-1 there. Like they're going to go on and win this game comfortably. And Arsenal reacted well to it. I think Arteta changed a few things up. But obviously, I don't think you can discount how the injuries impacted Leicester's performance.
Yeah.
Harvey Barnes is so important to what they're doing. Johnny Evans would still start for Man United, in my opinion. The guy's a top quality defender. Losing some of those players was key for them. Maddison's another big miss as well. So I think you've got to take them into account. But it was a big 3 points for Arsenal, especially when you consider that's one of the games where you'd expect them to lose in this Arteta Arsenal era. So it's a big win for them, but I wouldn't get too carried away if I was an Arsenal fan.
So basically, you don't rate our performance. That's what you're saying.
I rated it, but I've seen these performances from you 2 months ago, and then in between it's been nothing but crap. So
I've seen you collapse as well. So listen,
yeah, cool story, but we can collapse and still be above you.
But listen, since Fergie's left, you ain't been above us many times. You know, don't get excited. Yeah. That's what I thought.
Because it doesn't matter.
You know what, Tom? Before you come with this type of energy, you lot need to win a few games back to back, man. Seriously.
Yes.
And then we can have a proper conversation.
We will. And when we do, I'll be here ready. Extra facts and info. Guys, it's been brilliant to have you on this week. I'm just conscious of the time. Let us know in the comments who you want us to get on next week. You know what I mean? We've got different pros. We're thinking of getting on referees. Steven said we should try to look at owners in the future. We're really interested to have these chats, stories that you want to hear. Write them in the comments. Make sure you like, share, like I said, comment, and yeah, spread the stories around, man. Mac, thank you very much for coming on. Superstar. Where can they find you, man?
Thanks for having me, first of all. It's been a pleasure, boys. Find me over on Stretford Paddock and at Adam McKola as well. We have to get you boys on there, and I got to get Rio on Paddock again. I did an interview with him pitch side before, but now we need to get him in the office, so hopefully that happens soon. But thank you for having me. I've enjoyed the podcast as well. I normally listen in anyway because I'm in the other room and you boys are filming, so it's a great podcast, man. Keep it up.
Nice one, man.
Thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it, man. And we'll see you again. I'll come on yours when you're ready. Just shout me.
Yeah, anytime.
Hey, Rio, what other videos can they look forward to, do you reckon, this week? Hopefully.
Yeah, this week we got a wicked top-class interview with Pep. I know my man will be disappointed with that because he's a blue, but Ruben Diaz as well, the effect that he's had on the Man City team and their defensive record has been amazing this season. So we got them videos coming this week as well. So just be ready, man. Turn on your notifications. It'll pop up and let you know when it comes. For sure. See you guys next week. Vibe with Five. Take care, guys.
Peace.